One of the great things about being here at NASCIO is we get to meet with a lot of representatives from different states and see how they're tackling some of the same issues. And it's clear that we have kind of a unique approach to digital identity. We've seen a lot of states come out with mobile versions of their driver's license, and we're proud as a state to have that as well. But we're really thinking about how can we digitize the way that we validate residents' identities and eligibility for different programs. A lot of people are familiar with kind of the analog process, which is you have a plastic or a paper ID card, a driver's license, whatever it is, and you have to show that to someone. And we're trying to figure out, is there a way to do that process without needing to require all of this paperwork and provide everything electronically? So we're working with a bunch of different state departments to pilot out how that would actually work out in practice. We've been spending the last year or so building out the infrastructure, and we're proud to now actually get started on some pilots that Californians are actually using. So within the state, we've been working with the California Integrated Travel Project, which is promoting use of wireless payment systems and tap to pay with local transit agencies. And building into that system are what we call our identity gateway, but basically the way that we do identity and eligibility verification, so that when folks use their tap to pay, they can register it with our system and automatically receive benefits that they're eligible for. So instead of having to request a bus pass, instead of having to worry about always having your bus pass on you, or you might lose it or it might get spoofed, it just lives as part of your payment system on your phone or part of your credit card or digital wallet. And what we're doing now is trying to expand the breadth of those different benefits programs. So we started by looking at a couple of simple things like age-related discounts, and now we're going so far as to have agreements with the federal VA and CMS, the group that manages Medicare and Medicaid, so that if you receive disability, if you are above a certain age, if you have certain status, you can get those discounts automatically just by paying with your wireless payment.
Wow. Now, I would love to hear how the transit pilot is connecting with the digital ID. How does that work together?
Yeah, so that's really the way that we're testing out how do we actually implement all these different types of ways that we would need to verify a Californian's identity to make sure that they are who they say they are and they're eligible for the right program. We have a lot of great local partners where we've been building that out, and now we're looking to branch out and think about how can we do some different types of pilots to show that this technology works outside of just transit. So there's a lot of really strong concepts that we've carried over. For example, we rely very heavily on affirmative consent. So we only share your data with our service providers if you actually click a button and say that you're sharing it. You're also very aware of what that data are that we're actually passing on. And now we're taking that kind of to another level because we've partnered with the California Consumer Privacy Protection Agency, because recently the state legislature passed a law that allowed Californians, and we're actually one of the first places in the nation and even the world to allow folks to do this. But within California, Californians can ask data brokers to delete any data they have and stop tracking their data when they're on applications or websites. And the system that will be used to make sure that data brokers are complying with that your data is actually removed, is actually these digital identification tools that we're building now. And very similar concepts to what we're using for transportation, we're going to be applying with the Privacy Protection Agency. Similarly, we're also working on a pilot with CPUC, which is the group in California that manages all of the utilities across the state. And we're trying to build a benefits portal there so that if you're eligible for a particular benefit at a state level or local level, you can be pre-verified for benefits across the board, meaning you don't have to create a bunch of accounts, you don't have to go into a bunch of offices. If you're eligible for benefits, you'll get them safely and securely.
Yeah. So you mentioned, y'all's work with the CCPA. California is notoriously prolific in the privacy space. So, of course, I would love to hear about how you guys are ensuring that identity verification processes and any kind of, steps that you're taking to embed that within, state services. How are you making them safe and secure?
Yeah, that's a great question because privacy really is at the forefront of this effort. First off, because we're able to provide a lot of services digitally now, it allows us to take advantage of a concept called data minimization. So like it sounds like, normally if you need to request a service or request information from any type of government, you fill out a paperwork that asks for your name, your address, maybe a social security number, a driver's license. And so you have to provide all of this information that the government already has. And that means that there's greater risk for that information to be lost or mismanaged or potentially breached. So by creating a consistent environment where we're able to share information, and thankfully it's shared directly from a resident's device to the identity service provider, so to the groups that are making sure that there isn't fraud and that no one is stealing your identity, it means that the government doesn't need to maintain like a giant list or a giant list across all these different agencies of all of this different information about each Californian. You get to keep all of those data, and then you get to choose what data you would like to share so that you can be checked against different types of eligibility. So for example, if you're riding in Sacramento or in Monterey, Salinas County, where we have these pilots in place, you can choose, I would like to or not like to be verified to see if I'm a veteran. So if I know that I'm not a veteran, I may just decide it doesn't really matter if the VA confirms that I don't have that because I know I don't have the benefit. So all of that allows you to control your data as a Californian and make sure that you're only sharing the minimal information that we need to make sure that you get the benefit that you're entitled to.